Chapter 1, The Spheres of Existence, Luc. 1:1. This is the whole law needful for man to direct his life. Know your nature, do your duty and live in harmony with others. To live in harmony means doing wrong to no man. Luc. 1:2. There is one supreme spirit, which men call God, because God means all good. But because men seek a closer relationship with the supreme spirit of good, they refer to it as Father and as Him, and there is no wrong in this. Luc. 1:3. The Supreme Spirit contains the essences of all the perfections, and these flow out from Him in a form of vitality, which is called the Holy Spirit. The sphere of the Holy Spirit surrounds the sphere of the Supreme Spirit, and around this again, and below it, is the sphere of matter and mortality. Luc. 1:4. In the sphere of matter and mortality, the Holy Spirit manifests imperfectly, for here it becomes mingled with the inert composition of this sphere. Also, the penetrated offers resistance to the penetrator, and this, combined with the effects of intermingling, causes obscurity, illusion, and ignorance. These are visualized in the form of a mist called agnosia. Luc. 1:5. The activity of the Supreme Spirit in the highest sphere is unceasing, and this alone maintains the universes of matter. The basis of matter is an outflow of energy from the Supreme Spirit, which forms a kind of framework solidifying at its outer edge. The three spheres comprise the whole, no part of which is devoid of the vitality originating within the Supreme Spirit. So the statement that the Supreme Spirit is in all and all is in the Supreme Spirit is true, though He does not manifest in the sphere of obscurity, illusion, and imperfection. This does not mean that the Supreme Spirit could not manifest here, or that the sphere of matter and mortality is beyond His reach. These conditions serve a specific purpose. Luc. 1:6. Nothing, except the Supreme Spirit, can have a real, self-contained and independent existence. This does not mean that nothing else is real, and by illusion is meant deception by the senses, which interpret falsely. Man is deluded by his senses and so cannot distinguish the real from the unreal. Luc. 1:7. All the universes of matter are contained within the sphere of matter and mortality, which reaches out to touch the sphere of the Holy Spirit. Luc. 1:8. Their greatness exceeds the bounds of man's most daring imagination, and even if man could penetrate through to their limits, he would still find the Supreme Spirit veiled and hidden. Luc. 1:9. The Holy Spirit flows from the Supreme Spirit, as heat and light flow from the sun, and, penetrating all things, holds them in form and solidity. The Supreme Spirit alone is unpenetrated by anything. He alone is whole and fully self-sufficient. He alone is the one pure essence. Luc. 1:10. The sphere of the Holy Spirit is divided into subspheres, and the sphere of matter and mortality is likewise divided. The supreme ruler of the sphere of the Holy Spirit is the Holy Spirit, and the supreme ruler of the sphere of matter and mortality is nature. So all the material universes are governed by one set of laws called the law of nature. Nature is the effect and manifestation of the activity of the Holy Spirit operating in matter, where reality is relative and not absolute. Luc. 1:11. The earthly body of man, his moral shell and spirit container, is molded before birth by following a soul pattern drawn by destiny. Once born, many forces influence the life of man on earth, but he is also given the responsibility of free choice. Notwithstanding this, the life of any man can only follow a course set by destiny, but while on that course, he can do as he wills. Luc. 1:12. Every single thought and act on earth has its effect on the soul spirit projected into the sphere of matter and mortality. Man himself is a threefold being comprising soul, spirit, and matter, each having an affinity with one of the spheres of existence. Here on earth the soul spirit is made ready for its life in the higher spheres, or it is neglected and ignored. Luc. 1:13. This is the outline of truth, within which our Master taught, and Parmantris, his devoted disciple, has recorded what follows. He taught to 7 only, in a small hermitage beside the forest brook, Chapter 2, Vision of the Holy Spirit, and creation, LUC 2:1 My friends, the power of the Holy Spirit has led you here and directed your footsteps, so that you may be well guided in ascending the heights of divinity. No others shall be admitted to our circle, for so profound a subject as that dealt with here would be profaned by the presence of many. LUC 2:2 To understand the Supreme Spirit is difficult, but enlightenment may be granted to those who diligently follow the great path towards spiritual development. To describe him to others is impossible, for no man possesses the eloquence, and no tongue has adequate words. Then, too, it is difficult for the imperfect to grasp the meaning of perfection, or for the visible to comprehend the invisible beyond its range of vision. The eternal is so distant from the sphere of mortal man that the beauty there can only be glimpsed as a dim reflection. This is well, for if unshielded from the beauty beyond vision, mortal man would be consumed in its brilliance. LUC 2:3 Without his creation, the Supreme Spirit would be uncontrasted and therefore not really supreme, so he created. No man has ever seen him and lived, though many have been granted a sight of his reflection. So if any man says to you, I have seen the Supreme Spirit and now understand his nature, be sure he has not seen him, but only some distorted reflection. The truth is that the Supreme Spirit is not understandable to us mortals. He is far beyond mortal conception, and hence, many say he is non-existent. LUC 2:4 For the Supreme Spirit is outside and beyond his creation, but his radiance is the basis of all things. Together, he is the central flame, and the souls of men are rushlights lit at the flame but enclosed behind thick horn, so that they scarcely shine. The task is to pare down the horn, so that the light within shines brightly. LUC 2:5 Being without material restrictions, the Supreme Spirit is bodiless, and such a state is hard for the body-locked man to conceive. But man does not contact him through the body but only through the soul spirit, and certain places and conditions are designed to help man make contact. LUC 2:6 Men may call the Supreme Spirit by any other name, which conveys a meaning of divine greatness, provided the name is hallowed and held in reverence. There is no need to go into definitions, for this is an unworthy pursuit. Not any name or all names could adequately describe what is beyond description. The only way in which man can come to fully know the nature of the Supreme Spirit is through the Holy Spirit, through whose sphere passes the Godward road. This is all I need say about the great name. LUC 2:7 When I was young, I thought much about life here and above, and in times of sublime contemplation, my inner being appeared to penetrate into the very heart of things. Once, I became aware of a presence like that of some infinitely good and great being who spoke to me, asking what I wished to learn and know. I answered, I wish to learn the nature of things and my own relationships with them. I wish to know the purpose of life and why I was born. The great being seemed to speak again with a voice resounding in my whole being. I know what you seek and what drives you to search. I carry the power of knowing all, and my vitality is a spring whose waters are available for the refreshment of every questing soul spirit. I am the manifestation of the Holy Spirit. LUC 2:8 When the voice had finished speaking, a brilliant light seemed to glow all about me, and vast, radiant corridors appeared to open up in every direction. I became filled with an overwhelming feeling of love, and all about me shimmered soft lights, from out of which proceeded the most melodious sounds. Then, from one side came a dark and gloomy cloud, and I was filled with foreboding as it writhed and twisted like a heavy smoke. From out of it came the sound of wailing, and there was a low murmuring moaning long drawn out. LUC 2:9 Then I heard an exquisite sound, which rose and fell like the notes of a divine melody, and between the brightness and the dark cloud, a wall seemed to condense. It appeared to be of iridescent glass containing a living flame, not set in form, but with a flexible movement. From the wall came a kind of softly glowing vapor, which then rose above it. LUC 2:10 I heard the voice again, and it said, Have you seen and understood? I said, I have seen, but understanding has not been granted. Then the Holy Spirit said, I am the light, and the light is mind. The darkness and the cloud are agnosia, which seeks to increase its sphere by the agency of man. But the wall prevents it, and the wall is the mind of the Spirit. It is the barrier which agnosia cannot penetrate. The mind of man is a ray from the Holy Spirit pinpointed upon the spirit enclosed within a mortal body. Mortal existence is an echo, through the corridors of time, of the word spoken in the chamber of eternity. The sphere of the Holy Spirit is where mind manifests, freely, unhampered by mortal limitations. Luc. 2:11. I looked again, and the cloud and wall were gone, and then I saw the brilliance was divided by lights of many shades. Where the cloud had been, I saw a dullness amid brilliance, and then I seemed to be standing before it. I looked into the dullness as though down a corridor, and along its length, the darkness increased, so that at the end there was a deep-shaded gloom. In the dismal shadow I saw ugly, misshapen things moving, sluggishly, as though the life within them was weak. They were creatures, such as haunt the most horrid nightmare, and my eyes could not bear to rest upon them. I turned away, and the voice said, in the place where garbage is disposed, life assumes unpleasant forms, and this is the spirit garbage of earth. Luc. 2:12. Then I was drawn back into the light, and all about me was a joyousness and gaiety which seemed to have no perceivable source, but to be a quality of the atmosphere. Luc. 2:13. As I stood joyfully, bewildered in the radiance, I saw beautiful shapes, which appeared to come and go like fishes swimming in and out of the water shadows. I sensed rather than heard laughter and the sounds of happiness, and my whole being seemed to be filled with joyful communications. Luc. 2:14. Again, I heard the voice, and it said, This is the beauty and glory so feebly glimpsed in earthly existence. This is the diadem of life. When mind first penetrated mind-created matter, it brought light and life into being, in greater and lesser degrees of manifestation. While the heavier mortal elements of matter tended downwards, those in which light and life manifested the most tended upwards, towards eventual spiritualization. When spiritualized, they were drawn, by natural affinity, into the sphere of beauty and glory. Affinity directs the course of all things and governs the destinies of men. The thought that flows out through the Holy Spirit bears designs for structures of beauty to the boundary of the sphere of matter and mortality, but the deeper it penetrates, the more these are distorted and dispersed. So it is that things unbeautiful and unsightly are produced in the depths of matter under the rulership of nature. In the reasonless density of the lower subspheres of matter, the influence of creative mind is less manifest. Elsewhere in the same sphere can be seen the effects of evil mind, energy, which floats up like fumes from the disposal pit of spiritual garbage. Luc. 2:15. Then I said, But what caused all this to come into being? And the voice of the Holy Spirit answered, All things began with the intoning of the first creative sound. This rushed outward like a great wind-borne roar, and creation marked its passage. Then, like a great tidal wave falling back towards the sea, it drew back on itself, leaving the least of its substance at the farthest point of penetration. The waters of creation are deepest in the sphere of the Holy Spirit and shallower at the spiritual edge of the sphere of matter and mortality. Outward from there, they lessen to nothing. Luc. 2:16. Now, said I, understanding is mine, but what of man? What of myself? How was man created? The voice of the good and great being, which I knew to be a personalized manifestation of the Holy Spirit, answered me,